just got to interview wrestling royalty and two-time WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan. And no, I promise you this is not clickbait, because last week I had the pleasure of hosting a charity live stream for the Boys and Girls Club of America over on my Twitch stream, a charity live stream, by the way, where we ended up raising over $10,000. And we had a special guest lined up for this charity live stream, and it was none other than the Hulkster himself, Hulk Hogan. Now, because this is a charity live stream, this is a fairly light interview. We didn't go into any dark, heavy-hitting questions here, but you are going to get to hear Hulkster's opinion on guys like LA Knight, Seth Rollins. You're going to get to hear him recall his experience body slamming Andre the Giant, what the reaction was like backstage, and so much more. And I do hope you sincerely enjoy this, because I'm not an interviewer. This is the first person that I've ever interviewed, and it just so happens that it's the Super Bowl of interviews. It's Hulk Hogan. So this is your opportunity to let me know down in the comments if maybe you want to see more wrestling interviews on this channel. And dude, this is just crazy, because I'm not a professional interviewer. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a guy like you that likes wrestling. I just happen to make YouTube videos and live stream on Twitch. So this is still mind-boggling that this happened. So without further ado, here's me, Santi, interviewing Hulk Hogan. The Hulkster himself. How are you? Live and in the moment.
Brother, I'm doing good. I'm here with the Boys and Girls Clubs. Are you kidding me? I know we got a couple thousand people viewing this thing, but there's 3.6 million people that hang out with the Boys Club, 5,000 clubs, and I hope this gets out and infiltrates every single one of them, man, because we got a strong message. We're doing something for a good cause, and you know what? What you gonna do when Hulk Hogan and the Boys and Girls Clubs run wild on you, brother? We're ready, man.
Yeah, let's go. So we definitely have some questions for you. We're gonna be talking.
Okay, well, let me calm down. Let me calm down a little bit.
The bicep veins are bulging too much. We got to relax here, Hulk.
Well, brother, 70 years young. Come on, I've been training for 50 years, brother. No, 55 years. I'm sorry. I'm ready for you guys. I might have to take the Boys and Girls Clubs with me to Madison Square Garden and win the title back again.
Well, you know what? We wanted to ask you a little bit about your fitness, because the Boys and Girls Club of America does help the youth across America as well, in terms of giving them a safe place to be able to focus on their fitness when they, so I'm curious, and we're all curious, what your current workout routine looks like these days, Hulk.
Well, brother, it's being real consistent for me, because like I said, I've been doing years, and your muscles have memory, you know what I'm saying? So I can't lift the heavy weights anymore because of my age and because of my joints and everything. Wrestling for 40 years, I got beat up pretty darn good. So for me, it's being real consistent. It's using light weights, the full range of motion, and just training body parts and not overtraining, because I used to be able to do chest and back on a Monday and do chest and back on a Thursday. But when you get older, your body doesn't recover so much. So I have what I call a 10-day week, and I'll train chest and back on a Monday. Sometimes I won't hit it again until like Saturday or something. So you got to train smart, but it's light weights, full range of motion, and to the point of failure for body parts. And it still works, brother.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If it worked, 10 years ago, it still works today. So, now you needed those muscles in order to be able to pick up Andre back at WrestleMania 3. Back when you needed to do, a couple of back days a week in order to pick up the Giant back then. Now I'm curious, in that moment in time, when you had the Giant over your shoulders, was there ever any moment of, oh my goodness, I don't think I can actually flip him over and flip him. I think he's going to land on me, because we're talking about a 500-pound Giant here, Hulk.
Well, first off, you're wrong about one thing, okay? That night he weighed 660.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay? If you watch Andre's career, sometimes they would say 500 pounds. He was never 500 pounds. He was always 550. That's as light as he ever was. And sometimes when he ate and he drank too much, you'd see his belly swell up like a balloon, and everything else kind of swelled up. So he got really heavy when his health wasn't that great. And he was coming off a huge back surgery. So that night, actually in 88, it was over 30 years ago, 33, 34, 35 years ago, I was a lot younger back then, and I was actually training with heavy weights, and I didn't think I could slam WrestleMania 3 again. About 30 seconds into the match, I went to yoke him up, and I got him chest high, that position you're talking about, and I fell back. I almost lost the match in the first 30 seconds. He got like a 2.5 count. But as he got tired and I started feeling better, like the longer the match goes, it's almost like the more energy I would get from the people, I'd start shaking and go crazy, that I found the perfect spot where he was kind of off balance. He was kind of floating towards me. I I happened to get underneath him. And when I got to that position again that you were talking about, I just said the heck with it. And I turned him and he went down. That was a one-time deal, brother. Never to happen
Never again.
So I didn't think I could do it. But when you're in front of 94,000 Hulkamaniacs, you got to do what you got to do, brother.
And what was the reaction like with the boys backstage after you managed to lift up Andre the Giant? What was the vibe like with the boys in the back?
Well, there were a couple of reactions I didn't expect. The first one was from the 94,000 people.
Yeah.
After I slammed him, instead of the Hogan, it was almost like a wave. As they said Hogan, it was like, oh, Hogan, oh. It was so uncoordinated because so many people were trying to say Hogan at the same time. That reaction, I've never heard 94,000 like that. That reaction blew me away. And then when I got to the back, the boys couldn't believe not only did I slam him, I dropped the leg. We all thought he was going to kick out. But timing be what it was, he was actually passing the torch to me.
Right.
Because he knew he was at the end of his role, the end of his run, the end of his career. And he was kind of like passing the torch to me because he finally trusted me. The first 8 years, he beat me up really bad and didn't like me. Then I won him over in Japan and I became his guy. And we were actually good friends, to tell you the truth. And he was passing this torch because he knew I had wrestling love in my heart and wrestling in my blood. And he knew that I would take care of this business long after he was done. So it was kind of tough for me because I knew what the moment meant. And a lot of people didn't figure it out at that time. So the slam was unbelievable. The reaction from the crowd and how the boys acted in the back. It wasn't so much the slam. They couldn't believe that Andre stayed down for a 3 count because he'd never been beaten before. So it was a huge night for all of us. And he gave wrestling that shot of adrenaline that we needed. That was the pivotal point. 94,000 people. If we didn't do good that night, it would have never turned out like it did. But since we really rocked the house, it was smooth sailing simply because of Andre.
For sure. And what was that like to get that affirmation from Andre that you're the next guy up, that here's the torch? Because, there's one thing about having the physical weight and the physical pressure of a 600-pound man over your head, but now you've got the pressure and the weight of the entire business on your back. What was that? Was that a little bit scary knowing that you're the next guy to carry the company on your back?
Well, it was scary, and it's not like it is today where it's a fine oiled machine where and who's running the game. Back then, it was kind of like the fastest draw. So I had a target on my back all the time. So if I was wrestling around the WWE guys, I was really comfortable. But when I'd go out and do one-offs, like go to South Budapest Swana or go to Germany to wrestle the heavyweight champion of Germany or go to Austria and wrestle like Otto Vance, if they were to break Hulk Hogan's arm, their career was made. So not only being the number one guy, I had this target on my back internationally. And when I would come home, all the guys that were my friends were trying to one-up me and take my spot. And, they were saying, well, Hulk's going to go do a movie for Mr. Nanny for 8 weeks. Maybe if we, make people forget about him, he'll come back and he won't be the champ anymore. But it was always pressure. It was always push. But I was always in the gym when a lot of guys weren't. So it all worked out great.
This video is brought to you by patreon.com/SantiZap, where you're going to get even more wrestling content than you're already getting here on this channel. You're going to get the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early. You're going to get the Monday Night Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, the wrestling Q&As that we're doing over there, and more. So go check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap. There might be something that you like there. It'll be the top link in the description. All right, back to the video. Now, you mentioned a little bit about today's wrestling, and we have a lot of people here wondering about your thoughts on today's product. So if we were to put you in a scenario where it's in front of 94,000 Hulkamaniacs, it's the Silver Dome, who do you want to be main eventing with if it was somebody from today's landscape of wrestling?
If it was somebody from today's landscape, that is a tricky question because things have changed so much. There are very, very few attractions in the business. There was Stone Cold Steve Austin. There was Andre the Giant, John Cena. There are very few guys that become attractions, but there are some really good main event players that are right there at greatness. They're right at the greatness level. And for me to pick one guy out, I figure it just wouldn't be fair. So choices would be Roman Reigns, of course.
Of course. The tribal chief.
Seth Rollins. I'd love to rock him one time. He's a little cocky for me. I'd like to get up in Seth Rollins' face. And somebody that I did wrestle one time before, that it could have been a fluke that I get the victory, I would love to wrestle Randy Orton.
Oh.
Those would be the 3 guys. The new guy on the scene, this LA Knight guy,
yeah.
I think I'd have to get really ugly with him, man. He's getting way too big, way too fast, but he's a rising superstar, and I love the guy to death, man. I love watching him on TV, too.
Yeah, what a wild rise it's been for LA Knight. For a lot of the more casual wrestling fans, they didn't know who he was as as far as a year and a half ago. And then all of a sudden, he's just exploded into the scene. Are you able at all to explain that type of rise that quickly from somebody like yourself that saw a quick rise as well in the business? Could you explain to the people how something like that can even happen from almost nobody to the biggest name in the business today? It's crazy.
Yeah, LA Knight has a lot of old school in him. You know, he goes in there and he grinds and he stays on it, but his cadence is what attracted me. It's like, well, let me tell you something, brother. He'll say, well, let me talk to you. Yeah. Same thing. Well, let me tell you something, brother. Well, let me talk to you. It's the same cadence. It's the same vibe. And he's got it down, man. He learned quick. He's a quick study. And man, the practical application, the way he nails things, his placement in the ring, his timing is impeccable. And he's a heck of an athlete. Good-looking kid, man, built like a Greek god. So it's all coming his way, and he's very consistent. I haven't met him, but he seems like a really, really, really good person.
I think a promo battle between you and LA Knight might go down in the books as one of the most entertaining battles on the mic that we could possibly have.
Oh, it'd be great, brother. I'd love to get in there with him.
All right. Well, Hulk, we're going to be transitioning here in just a second. There's a couple more questions, not so much wrestling related, with it being the season. A lot of people are wondering what your favorite Christmas movie is.
Oh my gosh, will you stop? You haven't seen Santa with muscles?
So I had a feeling you were going to go with that.
Hulk Hogan is Santa with muscles. I play Blake Torchinsky, the richest man in the world.
Oh, that's a great show.
Turns into Santa Claus. Come on, man. Santa with muscles. You got to check it out, brother.
Santa with muscles, folks. Hey,
you know who was in that movie? How do you say his name? Ashton Kutcher?
Oh, Ashton Kutcher. Yeah.
Yeah, his wife is in that movie with me. She was like 8 years old at the time.
Wow, Mila Kunis. I think that's her.
Yeah. She's in the movie with me.
Wow, that's wild. Now, have you seen Die Hard, Hulk?
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is a very controversial question. This is something that might get picked up by outlets. Okay. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it takes place on Christmas Eve.
Well, for me, it could be, because that's a good idea. I probably will watch it at Christmas once I get full of turkey and pumpkin pie and Santa hits the house. That could be a good Christmas movie. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen it, but I watched all the series. I watched all the series, and Bruce Willis was one of my favorite action heroes. So it could be a Christmas movie. I'm really not sure about that one.
Yeah, it lies in between. It's on Christmas Eve. It takes place during a Christmas party, so it's got a lot of those aspects of a Christmas movie. But Hulk, like you already know, we're here for the Boys and Girls Club of America.
Yes, sir.
We've already raised. I told you before the stream we were at $4,200. Since you've joined. Without even asking for donations, we've already gone up nearly another $2,000. The Hulkamaniacs here have raised $6,000 for the Boys and Girls Club of America. When you hear about the Boys and Girls Club of America, like what comes to mind for you?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is what they did for me, because I grew up in South Tampa and there was Inner Bay Boys Club. And at the time, I had an older brother that I loved to death, but he was about 6 or 7 years older than me. Now, let's just put it to you this way. He wasn't the greatest influence on me.
Sure.
He had slick back hair. He'd wear Beetle boots and he rode a motorcycle and he was like my hero. And I would chase him around as a kid. And I was starting to go down the wrong path, chasing my brother around. So my dad grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and took me to Inner Bay Boys Club, and I fell in love with the place. So it gave me a place to go after school. It gave me something to do all the time, and everything from swimming in the pool, which we never had a swimming pool when I was a kid growing up. This was like we died and went to heaven to jump off the high dive, and go to the swimming pool. From all that to being able to play baseball and basketball, and they were almost like teachers. They would be there to help you with any problem you had, whether it be at school or at home, or it didn't really matter who you were or where you came from or what you're all about. They could step up and handle any need that you would have. So it was a perfect place for me because I was pretty much not listening to my parents for a couple of years and chasing my big brother around, and it wasn't going to be good. So the Boys Club in a way kind of saved me and put me on the right track.
Oh, it definitely put you on a pretty fantastic track there, Hulk, I gotta say. Now, with all this money that we've got raised here today, already $6,500, another $300 just came in there. Just so that you can tell the people where that money is going to be going towards, what can the people expect that money is going to be used for?
Well, first off, they can expect every single dollar to go to the boys club. You know, whether it's outreach programs, servicing the community, equipment, keeping things up and running, keeping the lights on, it all goes to a good use. It's basically Frank Sanchez and his group that makes the determination where and when these funds are distributed and what they go for.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we want to make sure that every single one of these dollars is going to exactly to what the people are expecting, of course, to help the kids across the United States. Now, Hulk, is there anything else that you want to say about the Boys and Girls Club here before we start to wrap things up?
Well, it's just amazing that they've been around. How long, Marty? 160 years.
Yeah.
I thought I was the first member. I'm so old. I had no idea. They've been around 160 years, and it's kind of like 1 out of 19 or 1 out of 20. Every person in America has had some type of experience with the Boys Club. So they have a great outreach. I mean, they need to stay around for another 200 years as far as I'm concerned. I just love the Boys Club, and I think it's really great, for these kids to have that experience. So I hope everybody who hears this has a chance to go by, visit their local Boys Club, and get engaged.
For sure. And with today's connectivity to the internet, I think it could be really easy for people to take for granted how easy it is to access the internet, but it's not easy for every child to be able to access the internet, to be able to do their homework, to be able to have a safe space to socialize online. I think for me, one of my favorite aspects about the Boys and Girls Club of America is the fact that it gives those kids that physical location, that safe haven to be able to go after school, because not every kid has the ability to go home after school. They might be part of a single parent family, maybe both of their parents are working. So we love seeing that these children have the ability to go to one of these clubs, be able to get tutoring with their homework, mentoring, help with their mental health and fitness, etc. And we love that you, of course, are a huge ambassador to this. Now we're going to be doing a couple more giveaways here, Hulk. Is there anything that you're looking to add to these giveaways?
Oh, we got a couple things here, brother. We got a couple world title situations here, such as this NWO belt, which will be signed by the bad guy Hollywood Hulk Hogan here. And,
yes.
We're all ramped up. We got a couple more things here we can throw in the pot and raise a whole bunch of money. But, if someone bids on this belt, I can sign it generically. I can personalize it. We can make it work. It could be something to hang over the fireplace or something to wear the next time you want to dress up as Hollywood Hulk Hogan for Halloween.
Well, that's an amazing contribution. Thank you so much, Hulk. I'm sure we're going to get plenty of bids for that. I love the spray paint work on it, too.
Yeah, they did a good job copying my signature there. That was really cool. I mean, every single one that I've seen, they sprayed exactly the same, and that's exactly how I did it back in the NWO days.
Hulk, one last question before we let you go. I have to ask the fantasy booking. All right, let's say it's 1997 prime NWO bad guy Hulk versus WrestleMania 3 Hulk. Main eventing Madison Square Garden. You don't have the help of the other fellas from the NWO. Who's winning this one-on-one?
Well, without a doubt, Hulkamania was born in Madison Square Garden. The fans in New York are so loyal. 40 years after my career is dead and over, they still treat me like I'm the champion. So I got a feeling if Hollywood Hulk Hogan was to get the upper hand on Hulk Hogan in Madison Square Garden, the fans would get in the ring and make sure that the red and yellow Hulk won. So I have to bet all day long on the good guy. There's a special rapport I have with my New York fans. They love Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania. They love the training, the prayers, the vitamins, the believing in yourself. It's just a mantra that will be immortal and live forever.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Hulk. Is there anything else that you want to say to the Hulkamaniacs watching right now?
No, I just want to thank every single one of them for being so loyal, always being with me through thick and thin. And even to this day, they make me feel like I'm the main event guy. When I see them on the street, all the Hulkamaniacs always have a Hulk Hogan story, whether it's we trained and used your workout kit, or I didn't have a dad and, I looked up to you growing up, or I had some issues at home that you helped me get through. It's just amazing how the character of Hulk Hogan affected so many people, not only in America, but internationally, worldwide. So I want to thank all the Hulkamaniacs for being loyal and sticking with me. And actually, the training, the prayers, the vitamins, that stuff actually works.
Yeah, of course. It's not magic, right? Like it's a combination of hard work, dedication, and being consistent with things. And I think that's a great message that you relayed throughout the 80s, 90s, and even still to this day. And so we really do appreciate that. Well, Hulk, we'll wrap it up here. It was an absolute pleasure getting to meet you. It is a dream come true for me, I gotta say.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. So you grew up as a little Hulkamaniac then?
Oh, so I started watching wrestling, Hulk. I hated you at first because I started watching in 2001. So when you came in and invaded the WWE and were against The Rock, I couldn't love you, but then the red and yellow eventually persevered in 2002, and I fell in love with you, my man.
Oh, thank you, brother. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hulk. It was a pleasure, and hopefully we can do this again. And thank you to the Boys and Girls Club of America for organizing all of this, and to everybody that watched. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much, Hulk.
All right, my brother. Be cool and eat fruit.
You heard it here. All right, take care, everybody.